dredging would probably make a small difference. It's not the comprehensive answer that some people have been claiming it is. It's why we began back in October, November last year to dredge some of the particular choke points on the River Tone and the River Parrett, because it can, I believe, make a contribution to solving some of these problems.
All right.
It's not a wholesale solution, and we need to look at a whole range of other things as well.
Right, because I'm sure you heard the local voices there that we ran a moment ago, and people in the area affected along the Tone and Parrett rivers are saying that there's been no dredging there for 20 years, that there's been a 20-year backlog.
Well, what's been happening, of course, is that over the course of that period, we've had a lot of pumping work going on whenever there has been flooding. We've been making sure that the water is flowing as best it can. Now, it is quite possible that dredging will be part of the solution, but I must emphasise only part of the solution. It's not the wholesale answer that some people are claiming that it will be.
Well, the Association of Drainage Authorities, who we spoke to an hour ago, said that had you been systematically clearing these rivers over a period of time, then they think the pumping that's going on now would have managed to drain the area completely within days.
It would not have solved the problems that we're facing at the moment. And we've got 65 pumps at the moment working right the way around the clock. Huge amounts of water being pumped out. The Somerset Levels are a completely unique landscape. It's largely reclaimed land. A very large quantity of it is below sea level. It also has the problem of the Severn estuary, which, because it's got such a high tidal range, backs the water up the rivers on occasion. And this requires unique answers, and that's why I very much welcome the Secretary of State's request yesterday for the Environment Agency, the local authorities and the drainage boards to get together to see if we can come up with a comprehensive solution. It's not going to be a simplistic one. It's not just saying if we dredge it will solve all our problems.
No, but
dredging the Tone and the Parrett, I think, will be part of that comprehensive solution.
The broader feeling that many of the people who work this land and who own the land in this area have is that the emphasis from the Environment Agency is on property, is on homes, and that the protection of land falls by the wayside somehow. You don't see that as much of a priority.
Well, it's our legal duty to protect life and property first, and that in any sensible scheme of things has to be the priority. Now, yes, agricultural land also matters, and we need to do whatever we possibly can within the limited resources we have available to ensure that agricultural land is protected, especially where it's very rich and very productive. But I have to say, life and people's homes have to come first.
Well, on the subject then of limited resources, you know, we know that your agency is facing cuts. Something like 1,500 jobs are going to go. How would you explain then to people how you are going to manage this year? Where will you make the choices? How will you allocate the limited resources that you have left?
Well, this, of course, is the difficult set of choices that anyone running a public service organisation at the moment faces. Like the whole of the public sector, we are facing financial constraints. We're doing that in the best and most methodical way that we can. We're taking as much as we possibly can out of all the back office services. We're trying to protect the frontline services as much as we can. And an absolutely red line for us in the Environment Agency is that we have to be able to maintain our ability to respond to flooding emergencies wherever they're happening and at whatever time.
That is a bit different from what your chief executive has said, that government cuts will impact on how the organisation deals with flooding, that flood risk maintenance will be further impacted. All of our work on mapping and modelling and new developments in flood warning will also have to be resized. So there will be an impact.
what he has said very clearly is that our response to flooding emergencies must be protected and will be protected. That there is other work preparing for that, doing the mapping and modelling work. Yes, some of that is likely to be affected. We will try as best as we possibly can to protect as much of that as we possibly can. But what we've got to do is look across the country, including in Somerset, at what we can do better, at what the comprehensive solutions, together with partners, not just the Environment Agency, the County Council, the District Councils, the drainage boards, we all have to work together